Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining me. Please give this page a like and subscribe, guys, if you've not done so already. So, what's been happening on the war front and the craziness that's been happening all over the world? Well, it looks like the reality is now the Houthis are controlling the oceans in the, they're now controlling the Indian Ocean, the Arabian Sea, the Gulf of Aden, and the Red Sea. That's just the reality of it, guys, okay? The Houthis are now attacking ships far, far beyond their where anyone thought they would. And it looks like that's just going to continue. Let's not forget that the Houthis are sponsored by the Iranians, and the Iranians will just tell them, hey, guys, target this ship. The Houthis will target it, and no comeback will come on the Iranians, and the Houthis get money or whatever they're getting from the Iranians. I think I did a video yesterday or the day before about the vulnerability and the real threat from our shores. This is just proving, guys, okay, that these shipping containers, we don't really know what was on board that shipping container. For all we know, the Iranian intelligence, and I'm not giving it any credibility, but the Iranian intelligence could have seen that as a military threat. It could have military hardware on it. The reality is we don't know. But what it shows is now that the Houthis and again, this is ridiculous, but the Houthis with no navy have managed to cut off basically trade routes into Europe and to the, to the east of the world. Also, guys, it's looking like tensions are ratcheting up between the US and China. Now, there's mixed reports about what's his name. I think his name's Anthony Blinken. He's gone over to China and, they both come back and said, right, you've got red lines that you're crossing and you've got red lines that you're crossing. But the jux of it looks like at the moment that the Chinese have crossed Biden's red lines. And again, who's Biden to tell China what they can and cannot do with their own money? That, that's a different story. But that's what they've said now, the Americans, that China has crossed these red lines. Now, the interesting thing about that is what is America's response going to be? Are they going to put sanctions on China? Are they going to give more military aid to Taiwan? When you make these red lines and you say, like, right, guys, there's a red line here, you do not cross it. If the host, the opposite person, whatever, crosses it, then you need to do something about it. You need to respond. Otherwise, it takes credibility. The next time you give a red line, people just think, oh, yeah, whatever. Kind of like chastising your children. If you tell them there's going to be a punishment for doing something and they don't, and then they do it and there's no punishment, they're going to do it again. All right? Same with geopolitics, guys, all right? If you're going to put a red line in against somebody and they cross that red line, then you have to do something. Otherwise, you lose credibility yourself. And equally, your host nation thinks, haha, they're not going to do anything the next time I cross the red line. So, it's going to be interesting to see America's response now it's come out in the public that this is that this is a red line that has, I guess, officially now being crossed. Because we all know it's been happening, unofficially since 2014. Right, and the final point I've got for you guys, because I know your time is precious. So I'll put all the links to these articles in the description, guys. So UK increasingly vulnerable to threat of missile and drone attacks after decades of cuts. Guys, they've known about this for years and years and years. Back in 2017, I did some work with a water company looking at the vulnerability, because the water companies identified it themselves, looking at the vulnerability of their water sources. Now, I don't know where the funding came from the government, or whether it was, I don't know. But anyway, so basically, the UK now have come out and said, yeah, we are actually really vulnerable to drone attacks, to missile attacks. One thing that nobody's talking about, guys, and I think it's terrifying that nobody's talking about it, is the vulnerability of our water sources. Look how close, France is. It's not beyond the realms of possibility a long-range drone could be sent to fly and contaminate our water supply. Because our water supplies, these reservoirs, as we get more and more people in our country, more and more people pulling off that water grid, we've got this cauldron at the moment with no more investment going into the water infrastructure and more people drawing off that water infrastructure. So these reservoirs, in real terms, are going to get smaller and smaller and smaller. All it's going to take is a little bit of some sort of, I don't even know, but some sort of poison, some sort of contaminant in that water source, and that's going to be absolutely catastrophic. And I can guarantee you now that host enemy nations, peer nations, are looking at this as part of their asymmetric warfare. Guys, that is all I'm doing this morning. I'm going to give you another video later on today. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.